Hey everyone, this is Justin from Easy Rides here to show you another unboxing video. Today we're going to be doing the Caofen from Emo. Very cool dirt bike. So, a couple things you're going to need for the build to start for the unboxing. Of course, your handy dandy X-Acto knife and a pair of snips. To start with it, you just want to go around, get all the straps with your pair of snips, just like that. And then you're going to take your knife and pull all this stuff back. And if you've watched any of our other videos, you know that I like to cut the box at both front corners to make it extremely easy to get it open. Just like so. And then we have access to our crate. Okay, once you've removed the cardboard and all the plastics surrounding the crate, it's time to kind of go around and unzip all the bolts that is holding the crate together. I like to start with the wheel box, which is just over here. Big zip tie right there. Just give that a good old snip. Put that off to the side. Then you're going to take drill or ratchet, which one you want to use, 10 millimeter, and you're going to kind of go around, grab all these bolts, just like this. Okay, so once you've found all the bolts for the crate, you're going to want to go ahead and unzip the last two at the front here. And then you've got these toe straps. If you've never used a toe strap before, you just push the little button on the toe strap and pull that out. And it should come out nice and free. And you get a free toe strap along with it. That's a pretty cool little bonus. You never know what you might need those for. Just like that. And then this whole top section comes off. Okay, you can stop it there. Okay, once you get the top part of the metal crate off, then we're going to remove all the plastics. There's a few pieces in here that you're going to want to try and remove. Up in the top and then the front, around the sides. And then we'll get to the assembly once you've removed all the plastics. Now that you've removed all the plastics, it's time to start the assembly. One of the things that I wanted to give a caution out to anybody putting one of these together right away is this particular toe strap right here. This toe strap is under a fair amount of pressure from the forks. So just try to take care as you're undoing it. As you can see there, it's giving me a little bit of a jump. Just take your time, be very careful with that. Okay, now that we've got all the toe straps out of the way and all the plastic out of the way, it's time to start the assembly on the top of the bike, which would be the handlebars. For this build, most of the parts and pieces that are going to go together on this bike are going to be using a Torx spec bit. So for this top section, we're using a T30. I'm just going to go ahead and zip all these out. And then we're ready to put our handlebars in. Okay, once you get that part disassembled, then you're going to take your handlebars and you're just going to kind of gently bring them up around the crate. And then you're just going to place them in here. If you want to come over here and have a look, you'll notice that there is some indication and markings for bar placement. So that makes it really easy, really handy to get the bars centered up and secured into place. Place your clamp over the top and then just kind of start to insert your bolts. I like to start these up by hand, just a few threads, and then we'll move on to the tightening process. Stop. Okay, once you've got your bar in place and you've got all your pieces in place, it's time to put down the bolts. You just want to go corner to corner, do a little bit at a time. We want to make sure that the spacing between the top and bottom is the same at each corner. For anybody who's unsure about how tight these should be, I would do them by hand, and I would probably do them, snug down until they're fairly tight on each corner, making sure that the spaces are all the same. And we're just going to do a little zip there, little zip there, just like that. And then you just kind of do like a little bit of a test feel. Rock it around, try to twist it, try to move it. If it's not moving, then you're good to go. Okay, once the handlebars are done, we can kind of move on to the turn signals. They're a very quick and easy thing to do. If you have a very good close look at the turn signal here, you'll notice that there's two flat spots on the back mounting part of the turn signal. You want to make sure that that slides in just like that. Then it's in place. Put this on over top, and then you can just go ahead and tighten that down. Doesn't have to be crazy tight, it just has to be snug. Spin it on. The rubber coating kind of helps you get some grip to get that on nice and tight. And then that's the turn signal. Okay, now that that's all finished up there, it's time to do the seat. A couple of things to pay attention to is that there are 2 bolts screwed in at the bottom here. You're going to want to remove those by hands. It might be a little bit difficult to get a tool in there, but once you do remove them, these are the 2 bolts here, and they are going to use a T40 Torx. So, plug our T40 in, get these all lined up. You're just going to want to raise this up until the holes are all lined up. Stick that on, and just drive those in. I like to keep them both loose until I have them both in, and then give them both a good tighten. Just like that. Okay, so now that we've got those 2 bolts secured, it's time to put on the seat. The seat uses 4 bolts, and if you can see here, this is where the mounting points are. Don't get confused by the rest of the parts of the seat. We're just focused on these 4 parts right here. Those pieces are going to be in this bag. This is your little bag of hardware. And you're going to kind of dig through some things to find the ones that we need. And they are going to be these bolts right here. I know it may look a little confusing, but the heads should indicate which ones. So these ones are for the seat, and these ones are for a different part of the bike. Okay, once you've located all the hardware that you need for it, then it's time to put the seat on. You'll notice that there's a little lip right here on the front portion of the seat. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try and get it up underneath the front here. This part could be a little tricky. You may have to push down on the front of the seat a bit, but once it goes in, you can kind of just give it a little nudge, and it's in place. So you can see now that it's secured. So over here, we're going to take our bolts, and we're going to put a washer on every single one. And then just keep in mind where those holes are that we showed you earlier. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to zip all those on using the Torx 30, I believe. Torx 30. Okay. So now that we've got the seat on and we've got our hardware in our hand and we have our washers, it's time to put the bolts in. The bolt location holes are right here, 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 and here. You're going to want to use the shorter bolts at the front, just kind of looking for that thread, giving it a quick little ugga. Nothing too crazy. Same thing on this side, find the thread, get it in there, and then take your longer bolts, find the holes at the back, look for the thread, and screw those in. Okay, once the seat has been secured on the bike, the next step is to install the front wheel, but before we do that, we just have to remove a couple bolts off this bracket right here. There's going to be a couple bolts with a nut on the bottom. Just like that. Remove that one. And remove that one. That frees up the front of the bike. Now, okay, once the bracket has been removed off the front, it's time to put the bike on something to install the front wheel. I like to use one of these little step stools. Probably the best little thing I've got lying around the shop for stuff like this. So, I'm just going to place that right next to the bike. I'm going to grab the bike underneath the back seat, and I'm going to lift this rear wheel out of the track, just like that. And then we're just going to kind of shimmy this right over here and rest it just like that. Now we're ready to install the front wheel. Okay, once you get it up on a stand or something that's nice and secure and solid, that's not going to move around on you and it's at a really good height for your wheel, then you're ready to put your wheel on. Take a 19 millimeter deep socket or regular socket, doesn't really matter as long as it's a 19 mil. And you're going to just put it right here on the end, and you're going to spin this off. This is the through axle. So you're going to push that through, just like this. Just feed it through. That little plastic thing out of the way, we don't need that. And then you're going to pull this little tab right here. This little tab is what's holding onto the brakes, keeps the brakes from closing up all the way. So you just want to make sure that you remove that before you attempt to put your wheel in. Okay, stop. So now, okay, once you get everything out of the way here on the bottom end of the forks, the tab and the through axle, then you're ready to put everything together. In your box of parts, you're going to find these cone-shaped little spacers. So you're going to take one of those, and you're going to just kind of install it right here on this side. It's going to be loose, so just keep in mind that it may fall out. You're going to line your wheel up with the brake rotor. So just slide that right into the caliper. You're going to put your through axle in, kind of start it like that just a little bit. Lift the wheel up so it comes up lined up with the axle, and then you're going to push the axle all the way through. You're going to find that this might give you a little bit of trouble as you're getting it through the other side. Just be patient with it and make sure that everything is lined up. Once you get to this end of the through axle, then we're going to, once you get the through axle partially through the fork with the spacer on the left side, you're going to now take your second spacer and you're just going to kind of pop it in there. Should go in nice and easy. And then you're just going to line up all the pieces and push the through axle through. This can be a little bit frustrating, so just be patient. Just make sure everything's nice and lined up. Then you're going to take the end cap and you're going to stick that on and take your socket and throw it on. This doesn't have to be crazy, crazy tight. It doesn't hurt to give it a good snug though. Just nice and snug. And then you're ready to do up your cinch bolts. Okay, so when you're doing up your cinch bolts, you're going to want to use a T30 Torx for these two. And you're going to just kind of go back and forth with the bolts. Little bits at a time until they're both tight. Just like that. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, the stanchion guards. 3 bolts. They look like this. Put them on by hand. Do all 3, and then you can do them down with the Torx 30. Okay, good. Once you're finished putting on the stanchion guards, you can move back up to the handlebars, and you can do these up. Again, it's a Torx 30. Just making sure that the bolts are tightened up evenly, and that you put them at the angle that you want them at. Okay, once you're finished with the brake levers, it's time to install the fender. There's 4 mount points right there. Very simple, very easy. You got your 4 points right here. 4 bolts, 4 washers. You simply just put this on, put your bolts up inside with the washers, and then your fender is secure. Okay, so for the peg installation, you're going to be using a T45. You're just going to zip this bolt out real quick, just like that. You're going to want to install it in this way. You're going to want to like bend the peg to get the bolt down inside, but once it's in, then you're good to go. Plug it in. Pay attention to the pin. The pin goes in one place, so you just do that up there like that. Take this, torque it up. And that should conclude the build and assembly for the Caofen by Emo. Also, don't forget to pump your tires up to 32 PSI and enjoy the ride.